Hi 5th grade. Today's video is going to be about our lab about planets and their rotation and how it affects the shape of the actual planet. So let's do this. Alright, so here's what you're going to need to do this. You need some kind of a paper so that you can cut them into strips and use that. You need, in the directions it says to use staples, but I'm going to be using tape, and you can do the same thing with it. It really works either way. You also need some scissors to help cut the paper, and you need something to poke a hole in the bottom of the pieces of paper to stab a pencil through them. So it says in the rules to use a hole puncher, but I decided I'm going to actually use my samurai sword letter opener, which is really nice. So where do we start? First, start by cutting 2 strips of paper all the way along the long edge of the piece of paper. So now, once you've finished your 2 strips of paper, take them and lay them down in an X shape so that one is laying underneath the other one. And then you'll take a piece of tape and you'll lay it across the middle portion right here, so right there in the center. That will hold these 2 pieces of paper together. And you can add another one to the other side if you want to as well. I think I'm going to do that. I think it'll hold it better that way. So now these 2 are connected in a cross shape. So now how do you take this and turn it into the shape of a planet? Well, first you fold these pieces over into the center like so that they meet at the very bottom of your sphere of paper. Next, this might take a couple of hands or somebody to help you, but you can take another thing of tape and also tape this top side so that it will stay in place. So we've been learning how the planets simultaneously orbit around the sun and they rotate on their axis. And this causes some weird things to happen. So for example, flying around the sun means that for some parts of the year, one portion of the planet might get more sun than the other portion of the planet. So like on one side of the sun we'll have winter, and on the other side of the sun we'll have summer, or things like that. But there's also something that happens because of the rotation of the planet. So here comes the fun part, where I get to stab this with my samurai sword letter opener. So you want to make a hole right in the center of the bottom portion where you taped. There we go. Now, we have our planet positioned on the end of this pencil. So check out what happens, and I'm going to do a super close-up zoomed version of this, but check out what happens when I put my hands like this and give this thing a spin. So you can see here, hopefully you'll be able to see this, but as it's spinning, it actually compresses just a little bit. And it's a little hard because the paper wants to fly everywhere. But you can see that the height here it just wiggles downwards a little bit as I start to spin. Right. And that wraps up our lab. So now all you have to do is answer all the lab questions, and you are finished.